If you came to my hardware shop to buy a few bags of cement and I tell you that the bill is 20,000, but I will give you a 5% discount and therefore you are supposed to pay me only 19,000. But you say, no, I'm not interested with your discount. I will just pay 20,000. I will not pay 19,000, I will pay 20,000. And I say, okay, well and good. So I receive 20,000 from you, I give you ETIM's receipt. But then later on, I hear you spreading rumors that my shop, my hardware, has high prices, that I sell cement at very high prices. Would that be fair? And I had given you a discount of 5%, which you refused. Imagine this is exactly what happens to us when we refused to take advantage of the tax reliefs, tax discounts that KRA offers to us. Now, do you know that you are entitled to a tax relief of 28,800 shillings per annum, which translates to 2,400 shillings per month? What do I mean by that? You know, most people believe that any amount of money that you earn below 24, most people believe that any amount of money that you earn below 24,000 per month is not subject to tax. It is not true. Even if you earn 1,000 shillings per month, you are supposed to pay 10% of that amount to KRA as pay as you earn. 10,000, 10% of that, 1,000. 20,000, 10% of that, 2,000. That's what you are supposed to pay. 24,000, 10% of that, 2,400 shillings. However, there is an advantage. There is a tax relief that the government of Kenya issues and gives to every human being, to every taxpayer. So therefore, if you are earning 15,000, for instance, and 10% of 15,000 is 1,500, that is what you are supposed to pay to KRA, but you deduct the tax relief that you qualify for on a month-to-month basis of 2,400. And since the amount of tax discount that you qualify for is more than the tax that you are supposed to pay, which is 1,500, then you end up paying nothing. And that's how people below 24,000, they don't pay any taxes in terms of pay as you earn. Why? Because if you say 24,000, 10% of it is 2,400, and that matches the maximum tax relief that you are supposed to qualify for. If you earn 25,000 and above, then it is now the extra 1,000 that you pay taxes for. If that is clear, when you are filing tax returns for this year, for last year, this year, because the tax returns for 2025 are supposed to be filed by 30th June this year, make sure that you take advantage of the tax relief of 28,800. If you don't do that, KRA system will not force you to do that. They will just assume you are good and you just want to pay more taxes. And just like for my case, when you came to my shop, I told you that I can give you some discount for these bags of cement, that the bill is 20,000. I want to sell it to you at 19,000. You say, no, I still receive the 20,000 from you. Same thing, KRA will not refuse you or decline your money in case you don't want to take advantage of the tax relief. And this tax relief, it is referred as personal tax relief. If you operate as a company, companies do not qualify for personal tax relief. So take advantage of that. And it's also good to understand, because most people think that if I am employed and I don't have any other source of income, then I'm not entitled, or I'm not required, I'm not liable to file taxes. You are supposed to file taxes, because what your employer deducts and remits to KRA on a month-to-month basis, that is not final tax. It is tax that is being paid in advance. It is advance tax. And it is up to you. At the end of the year, you compile all the other incomes that you generated in that year, 2025. Whether you are doing farming business, you are doing betting, you are doing some consultancy, you add that income to the income that your employer had declared to KRA, and you compute taxes on that entire income that you generated in the year 2025. Then, if you realize that you are supposed to pay 100,000 and your employer was deducting 5,000 from your salary on a month-to-month basis, which makes it 60,000 per annum, then you will tell KRA that I will not pay you the 100,000 because 60,000 had already been paid to you by my employer as a pay as you earn, so I will only pay you 40,000. Perhaps this 40,000 is the profits that you had received from, you had generated from farming business, consultancy business, construction business, whatever business that you're involved in. It could be academic writing. But the point is, it is your responsibility to file returns at the end of the year, not your employers. The reason being, the government does not know whether you have more incomes other than the employment income. If you don't have any other income other than the employment income, you still are required to file because the government does not know that. If you're not even employed, you are still supposed to file nil returns, because how would the government know that you are not employed and you are not earning any income? So, but when you file this time around, ensure you take advantage of what? Personal tax relief. I come to relief number 2, and that is insurance relief. Insurance relief is another tax credit that you get from KRA, which is up to 5,000 per month and up to 60,000 per year. Insurance relief, for you to qualify for insurance relief, for sure, you must be having some insurance policy. And this is for none other than life insurance policy. There are 2 types of insurance. One is general insurance, and number 2, life insurance. General insurance are those insurance products whose maturity is for 1 year, a maximum of 1 year. This could be medical insurance cover. As long as every other time you pay for premium, that cover expires after 1 year, it is categorized as general insurance product. Because medical insurance, motor vehicle insurance, the one that the government forces all of us if you have a car. So professional indemnity cover, all those are for 1 year, and therefore they don't qualify for insurance relief. For you to qualify for insurance relief, you must be having an insurance cover that is life in nature. Life meaning its maturity is more than 1 year, and it must be for more than 10 years for this case. If you want to qualify for insurance cover, the insurance policy that you keep paying for premium on a month-to-month basis or a year-to-year basis, that insurance policy, the maturity time should be more than 10 years and above. It could be education policy for your children. It could be term life insurance for yourself. You insure yourself that in case I die, then my children, my beneficiaries would be given this amount of money by KRA, by the insurance firm, if I die within the next 10 years, if I die within the next 15 years or 20 years. It depends the maturity that you have put for that term life insurance policy. But you can also put a whole life insurance policy on yourself, and you say, in case whenever I will die, whether today, tomorrow, 100 years to come, my family will be given this amount of money. So whatever premium that you contribute towards that kind of an arrangement on a month-to-month basis, you are entitled to a tax relief of 15% of that amount. If you are contributing 20,000, 15% of 20,000 is 3,000. 15% of 20,000 is 3,000. So every other month you are pay as you earn. The taxes that you are supposed to pay to KRA reduces by 3,000 because this one is a tax credit, and you have a maximum of 5,000 per month. You have a maximum of 5,000 per month. If you are contributing 30,000 to an insurance policy, to an insurance firm, for a policy that you have for them under life insurance, 30,000, 15% of 30,000 is 4,500. So your tax payable to KRA reduces by 4,500. I'll give you a good example. Let's assume that you earn 100,000, and generally the pay as you earn for 100,000 that you are supposed to pay to the government is about 30,000. So instead of paying 30,000 to the government and assuming that you have an insurance policy, life insurance policy, where you pay 20,000 per month, and you have said 15% of 20,000 is 3,000. Therefore, instead of your pay as you earn being deducted 30,000, instead of you paying 30,000 to the government as pay as you earn, you will only pay 27,000, and you save yourself the 3,000 because that is an insurance relief. That's not a good idea? Now, if that's a good idea, let's go to the third relief, mortgage interest relief. You have a maximum, you qualify for a maximum of 30,000 per month, as this one is not a relief, but it is referred as a tax deductible expense, a tax deductible expense of 30,000 per month. Per year, it is 360,000 Kenya shillings. That is the amount of tax. That is the amount of deduction that you can make as long as you have a mortgage loan facility where you pay interest for having that loan facility. However, there's a catch. This mortgage loan must have been acquired to help you either purchase, improve, or construct a house that you live in, not for commercial purposes. Don't get this loan so that you can do a block of flats. No, it must be for you to occupy a residential. If that is not the case, then you don't qualify for a mortgage interest relief, which is at the rate of 30,000, a maximum of 30,000 per month, and which translates to 360,000 per annum. And this is not a tax relief. It is a taxable, it is a tax deductible expense. What do I mean by that? Now, we assume you are still earning 100,000 per month. So if it is 100,000 per month, what we would do, we would first deduct that, assuming you pay a mortgage of, let's assume that you have a loan facility of 2 million, a loan facility of 2 million, and the interest that you are paying to the bank, to your lender, is 15% per annum. 15% per annum of 2 million is 300,000. That is 300,000. If you divide 300,000 by 12, if you divide 300,000 by 12, it would give you, if 300,000 by 2 is 150, by 300,000 by, let me just assume that 300,000 divided by 12 is 10,000. Let me just assume it is 10,000 for the sake of this video. Now, and we have said that your salary per month is 100,000. So how you take advantage of the mortgage interest relief is you say 100,000 minus 10,000, you get, it is 90,000. Then from 90,000, that's now where you compute the pay as you earn. And I think the pay as you earn for 90,000 would come to something like 26,000. That is the pay as you earn that you should pay. Remember, if you didn't have the mortgage relief of 10,000, you would have paid pay as you earn of 10,000. Or you'd have paid pay as you earn of 30,000. Because 100,000, a salary of 100,000 has a pay as you earn of about 30,000. So without mortgage relief, you would have paid 30,000. But since you have a mortgage relief of 10,000, we are not saying that you pay 30,000 minus 10, 20,000. No, this mortgage interest relief does not operate like a relief or relief. It is not a relief, it is a tax deductible expense. And that's why we are saying if the mortgage interest that you are paying on a month-to-month basis is 10,000, then from your salary of 100,000, first deduct this 10,000 as an expense. You are left with 90,000. That 90,000 is the one that you subject to the graduating tax scale so that you can understand or you can compute the amount of pay as you earn that you are supposed to pay, which could be something like 26,000. So get to understand the difference of a tax, and that is a tax relief is a credit and insurance relief is a tax credit, but mortgage interest relief is not a tax credit, but it is a tax deductible expense. So make sure this year when you are filing for tax returns for 2025, take advantage of those two tax credits and also a tax deductible of mortgage relief if you qualify for that, meaning in case you have a house that you have the construction, the purchase of the improvement of that house that you occupy through a mortgage facility, you qualify for mortgage interest relief. If you have an insurance cover that is more than 10 years to maturity, then you qualify for insurance relief. But something that you qualify for as long as you are alive and you are earning income in Kenya is the personal relief of 2,400 per month, which translates to 28,800 per year. When you know better, I expect you to do better.